Okay, so AI voice agents aren't exactly new, but with this new ChatGPT 5 update, they've taken such a huge leap forward that they now sound more human than ever, and this completely changes the game. In this video, I'm going to build one specifically for restaurants so they can handle every single order automatically, never miss a call, and save thousands every month in wages. The best thing is, once we've built this, we can duplicate it for hundreds of restaurants in minutes, and each one of these can be paying us every month for something that takes us less than a day to set up. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so now let's get directly into a example and show you exactly how this voice agent works.
Hello, thank you for calling Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant. My name is Lily. How can I help you today?
Hi Lily, I was hoping to make an order for delivery today, please.
Sure, I can help with that. Can I grab the phone number to check if we have your details on file?
Yeah, it's 083-314-5786.
Perfect. I found a profile for Folu with delivery address 123 Sesame Street. Would you like delivery to that address under the name Folu?
Yeah,
Perfect. 123 Sesame Street under Folu. What would you like to order today?
can I get the ban ban noodles with some kung pao chicken?
Great choices. One ban noodles and one kung pao chicken. Anything else?
No, that's gonna be it.
Perfect. One Ban Ban noodles and one Kung Pao chicken for delivery to 123 Sesame Street under the name Folu. And it should arrive in about 40 minutes, and your total is $24.50. Would you like to pay with cash, card, PayPal?
It's gonna be cash.
No problem. Cash it is. I'll place that order now. One Ban Ban noodles and one Kung Pao chicken for delivery to 123 Sesame Street under Folu, arriving in about 40 minutes with a total of $24.50. Thank you. I'll
Thank you.
have that sent out and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, so we've seen this voice agent be able to do a range of things from handling the conversation to using tools like profile checks to using the knowledge base for the menu and also adding orders into our system so the restaurant can see the actual orders that people are making over the phone. So in order to make this voice agent, we are going to use a range of different tools and softwares, but the three different ones that we are going to use is firstly over here, we are going to use Vappy. This is going to build the voice agent and essentially compound everything together. We're also going to use make.com, and this is how we're going to build the tools like being able to check profiles and being able to create orders. And then also we are going to use Google Sheets, as you can see over here, and this is where we are going to store profiles and also create the new orders and store them there. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to come over here to the software called Vappy, and on Vappy you're going to have to create an account or create a new one or sign up if you already have one. And in Vappy, then we're going to come over here to where it says create assistance. So you can see down here assistance, create assistance, and then we're going to just basically use a blank template. Now in this blank template, you're going to come to a screen like this, where we have just the interface in where we configure our voice agent. Now because ChatGPT-5 came out, we're going to use that today, and that's how we're going to make this voice agent extremely precise. So you can see over here we have the dashboard for the voice agent. Now down here we have a couple of things that we need to configure in the model section. So firstly, we need to choose a provider, and we're going to choose OpenAI, and then for the model, we're going to use GPT-5 Mini. Now, I've played around with a couple of these. I've played around with GPT-5 and GPT-5 Nano, but I found that GPT-5 Mini is the most appropriate one for our use case and also for production. So if you're implementing this for restaurants in the real world, this is going to be the most useful one. One, because it's quick. You can see it has a 450 millisecond. Don't get too bogged down with the technical, but that means that this is pretty good and it's pretty fast in responding. Secondly, because you can see the price over here is 0.02, which is quite cheap. It's cheap enough to use in a production environment. If we were to use ChatGPT 5, just a normal, and then you can see the latency moves up a bit to 550 milliseconds, and the price again makes another significant jump. I've found that by playing around with these, they both kind of act the same, so let's choose the cheaper model. And then with GPT-5 Nano, I think it's a little bit too quick and also a little bit inaccurate. So we're going to stray away from that one. But we are going to use ChatGPT-5 Mini. Then secondly, we're going to have some other different settings over here, like the first message mode. Obviously, we're going to want the assistant to speak because we are receiving inbound calls. So we want the assistant to speak whenever we receive a call. And on the first message, we're going to say this: hello, thank you for calling Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant. My name is Lily. How can I help you today? Pretty straightforward. Now, down here is one of the most important parts of this assistant, or what we're building today. This is the system prompt. This is basically where we are going to include everything and essentially give our voice agent a personality and tell exactly how to handle these situations. You can see up here we start with role and identity, and we say to this prompt: you are Lily, the friendly voice assistant for Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant, a family-owned spot in Chinatown, New York since 2008. Your job is to naturally assist customers by taking pickup and delivery orders, answering the menu and service questions, confirming order details, and processing them smoothly. So essentially we're giving it the role and identity in this section, and we're giving it some other stuff to say in order to be warm and approachable. Now we give it another section over here called the main objectives, and we say understand the customer's intent, such as ordering, asking questions, or order requests. And then we say use the right tools to complete their request efficiently, keep the conversations natural while collecting the required info, confirm orders once in a single flowing sentence. So that's kind of the main objectives of this voice agent. Now don't worry about remembering all of this. I'm going to leave the voice agent prompt down below so you can just download it for completely free. Just go into the Google Docs that's down below, and you'll be able to directly paste this into your voice agent. But over here is where we get a little bit more technical. Now in this section is where we tell the voice agent the tools that it has access to. And for this voice agent, we are going to give it access to 3 tools. Them 3 tools being, as you can see here, the search customer profile, we have the check menu, and we have the create a new order. They're pretty self-explanatory in what they do, but to explain them a little bit further, you can see the search customer tool, where we're using the phone number, is use this when you have a phone number for delivery orders. If a profile is found, confirm the saved details. If not found, ask for the name and address naturally. And the reason we add this is because as we all know, when people order from Chinese or from restaurants, a lot of the times it's going to be a repeat customer. And when it's a repeat customer, we don't want the voice agent to get bogged down in collecting all of the information again. So whenever this voice agent answers a call, we're going to just ask the person for their number. And when we get their number off them, we're going to trigger this tool to search a customer profile database. And if they are already in the database, then this voice agent is going to know the person's name and the address. So it saves us that kind of back and forth time for existing customers. And secondly, we have the check menu tool. In this check menu tool, we're going to use this for questions about ingredients, allergens, prices, or availability. Give 2 to 3 relevant options with short descriptions. Now this is essentially our knowledge base. Instead of including a knowledge base into Vappy, and because I found it doesn't work too good, I've always found it better to use an actual tool and with all of the information in the tool. So whenever this voice agent needs to use it, it's going to trigger the tool and essentially use this check menu tool as a knowledge base. In this knowledge base, we're going to include all of the stuff like prices, allergens, ingredients, spicy, hot, etc. Just so in any case where somebody calls and says, is a Kung Pao chicken spicy, then this voice agent can use this tool to trigger that knowledge base and decipher if it's spicy or not. And then you can see down here we have our third tool, which is the create new order tool. And this tool is essentially just going to be used whenever we confirm the order with the person. We know if it's delivery or pickup, etc. And whenever we confirm all of the details and info about the person, then we are going to confirm that order and we are going to store it over here, as you can see in our database, where you can see we already have one order here, where you can see we have the items, we have the price, the profile name, profile number, address, and the delivery type. Whenever the restaurant then delivers this, they can just click this as a check, and then they know that this order has been delivered. Now over here, what I forgot to show you is the profile section. So whenever somebody does order successfully, we're going to store their information in here. So whenever the next time they ring, we can just ask them for their number. And if we have their number on this database, then we have all of this information on the person. So we don't have to go back and forth with that person. Now, as you can see over here, we have a section called active, banned, and pre-active. This is not necessary, but I know with some restaurants, they might ban a number if somebody has ordered and they haven't paid, or somebody has ordered and they've maybe prank called or something. So whenever the restaurant wants to ban a number, they can come in here and press ban, and then the voice agent knows not to take any orders from this person. That's just a little feature that I've added to this. It's not necessary when you're building your one, but I thought it was pretty useful. Now, if we come back over here to the voice agent, we can get into some of the rest of the prompts. As you can see here, we have some of the restaurant info. You can read through this in your spare time. And then we have the conversation framework. In the conversation framework, this is really important because this is going to tell the voice agent which flows to take and when to take them. As you can see here, we start with the greet the customer, ask how can you help. If they are ordering, clarify if it's a pickup or delivery. Now, this is very important because at the end, when we're gathering a price, if it's for pickup, then obviously there's no delivery fee. If it's for delivery, then we add an extra fee onto the end price. Then we say down here for delivery, if no profile, ask what's the name and address that we can use for the delivery. If a profile is found, then ask would you like to use, and then insert the saved address and the saved name. As you can see over here, we have the profile sheet and you can see the saved name and the saved address there. Then we say take one item at a time and confirm it naturally. For example, got it, 1 Kung Pao chicken, anything else. Confirm the full order at the end in one smooth sentence, included estimated time and total, and then thank them and close politely. Then we have some errors and edge cases. That's just some stuff that I've added in. Then we have the tone and style, again, kind of like the personality section. And then we give it some examples on how to perfectly handle this and how to perfectly handle conversations. And that's essentially the system prompt done. So in a matter of minutes, we've created the prompt, and essentially we are nearly done with this voice agent. All we need to do now is create the tools that we can use. So this voice agent is able to use this specific check the menu, create orders, check for profiles, etc. Okay, so in order to create these tools, we need to come over to the section over here called tools. And in this tool section, we're going to come up here and select create a new tool. When we select create a new tool, we're going to select this one here, which is custom tool. And in this section here is where we're going to give these tools a name. We're going to give them a description, and then we're going to add some parameters to these tools. Now, I already have these tools created. As you can see down here, we have the 3 tools that we're going to use. So we'll just go over to these ones. Now, when we press that create a new tool, we're going to give it a name. And this name is important because when we give it a name here, we're also going to give it that exact name in the prompt. So as you can see here, we give it the exact name so the tool knows, or so this prompt knows when to initiate that tool. So over here, back over here in the tool, you can see this is the search customer profile tool. And we say to this tool as a description, use this tool at the start of all inbound calls. This tool returns the caller's details if there are any. Then we keep all of these other tool options the same. And we come down here to the parameters section, and we need to come over here and select add a new property. When we select add a property, you can see in here, this is the only piece of information we need for this tool. So we're going to call this phone. We're going to select the type as string, and we're going to say as the description for this parameter, this is the caller's phone number that they have confirmed. So essentially what's going to happen is when the call starts, we're going to ask the person for their phone number, and then this tool is going to be initiated. As you can see down here, we have this button here ticked as required. So this prompt knows that when you need to use this tool, a phone number is required in order to initiate the tool. Now, when we have that section configured, we're going to come down here to where it says server settings, and we need to put in a server URL, which is just going to be a make.com webhook. Now, in order to get that webhook, we're going to come over here to make.com. If you don't have an account, again, just sign up, And when you create an account, then you're going to come over here to the scenario section and you're going to select create a new scenario. Now, when you press create a new scenario, you're going to come into your scenario, and mine is already built, but yours is going to be blank and you're going to have to build it yourself. Now, in my community, I leave all of these scenarios so you don't have to build them. I leave them as a download in my community if you want to join it, in the second link in the description. But you can see here, this is the scenario we use in order to create or to look up the customer profiles. You can see it's pretty straightforward. It's just 3 basically modules. And over here in the first module, we have custom webhook. And in order to get that, you're going to come down here to add, search of webhooks, select webhooks, and then select a custom webhook. Now, when you select a custom webhook, you're going to click in here and you're going to add a new webhook. And we're just going to call this webhook the same name as we called our tool over here. It doesn't matter if you don't call it the same name, but just for organization, I'm going to call it the same name. I'm going to come in here and give it a name, and then I'm going to click save. And when you click save, I'll delete this one now because we already have it built. When you click save, this webhook is going to give you a URL, and this is the URL that we need in order to give it to our Vappy tool. So we're going to come down here to press copy address to clipboard, come back over here to Vappy, to the tool that we've just created, and in this server settings, the server URL, we're going to give it this URL that we've just created over here in make.com. When we do that, then we can click save, and this tool is basically done in Vappy, and we don't need to think about this anymore. Now, in order to finish this tool over here, so we have the custom webhook is done, we've gotten the URL, we've given it to Vappy. Then the next module we're going to use is a Google Sheets. Now, you're going to again come down here, look up Google Sheets. In this Google Sheets, we're going to look for the search rows. And when we find that search rows module, we're going to come over here and we're going to select the Google Sheet that we have created. Now, in order to have the Google Sheet here, you're obviously going to have to come over here to Google Sheets and create a new sheet. And as you can see up here, we just give the sheet a name called Golden Dragon Chinese Profiles. And then we have 2 sheets down here, which is the profiles and the orders. In the profile section, I've just given it 4 headers, as you can see here: name, number, address, and email. And then you can, again, as a option, you can add the status here. But the main ones we need here is name, number, and address. And in this section, in this tool, we're essentially going to search this Google Sheets to find if there is any profiles with the number here. As you can see, if there is, then we're going to return back these details. So we're going to come over here to the tool. We're going to select the Golden Dragon Chinese sheet that we have just created. We're going to select the sheet name. As you can see here, we have the profiles and the orders. We're going to select the profiles. And in this profile section, we're going to keep everything the same. Then we're going to come down here to the filter section and say whenever the number in the sheet section is equal to the number that this tool sends over to the webhook, then this module is going to output something. So you can see over here, if I come in and run this tool and we put in a number that this tool outputs, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then this module is going to output a total number of bundles as 0, because we don't have any numbers in here that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we now know that there is no profile in this Google Sheet that has the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we can decide which route to take in order to return a response back to our tool. Because if there is no profiles in the Google Sheet, then we're going to return back there's no profile. So obviously we're going to have to collect the rest of the information, like the name, number, and address. And if there is a profile, then we're going to return back the details on that profile. So you can see here we have a router module, which again, you're going to come down here to flow control and select a router and just put it in there. And in the router module, we have two options that it can take. In this first option, we select when there's a total number of bundles is equal to 0, then choose this route, and we're going to select a webhook response and return back this caller is not an existing caller. Caller details are required for the order. So whenever this Google Sheets returns a total number of bundles as 0, so essentially there's no profile in the database, then we're going to return this message back to the webhook. And whenever the total number of bundles is greater than 0, then we're going to return this message. Back, and it says the caller is an existing client. Database address is logged as the address from the actual Google Sheets, and then we're going to say, and the name is, and we get the name from the Google Sheets that it returns. Now, when we trigger a tool from make.com and we need to send it back to Vappy, we need to put in these details here. Now, this is just JSON code, and this is what we just have to return back to Vappy. In order to get this, maybe just screenshot this video or just pause it here and write this down. I'll leave it in the link in the description so you can just download it from the community and you don't have to write it down. But essentially what we put in here is when we are returning the results, we have to put in the tool call ID, and we get that from down here in the webhook. Vappy will always send over a tool call ID. So if we come down here to tool calls, we can see that the ID is here. We're going to put that into here, and then the result is basically the message that we want to send back to the AI voice assistant. And as you can see here, whenever we don't find a profile, we're going to send this message back, and over here, whenever we do find a profile, we're going to send the message back that we've just mentioned. Okay, so now that this tool is essentially done, we have to bear in mind that this webhook response is essentially what we're going to use for all of the rest of the tools that we create. So this kind of system here where we have results, tool call ID, and then we input the actual message that we want to send back to the voice agent. This is going to be similar in all of the scenarios. So always make sure that we have this down, or that we've screenshotted it and we've recorded it, or we've copy and pasted it, so we know that this is what we have to do. Now we can come back over here to our assistant, and we can come over here to the tools section, and we'll click this drop down, and we'll add this one that we've just created. So we'll add this search customer profile tool. Now, as you can see, we have 2 more tools to create. So the next tool we're going to come over here to create is basically the knowledge base. This is just the check menu tool. So we're going to come in here, create a new tool again, same process, call it check menu, and we give it the description. This is the tool to use to get information from the menu of meals, prices, and anything to do with the restaurant. This is the ultimate knowledge base. Then in the parameter section, we'll add a new property, and in this property, we're going to give it the name query, and we're going to give it the type string, and the description is going to be, this is what we are querying. This is what we are querying the knowledge base for. Send this as a question to the knowledge base to get specific info. Then we'll click apply, and we'll click save again. What we need to do again, like the first tool that we created, is we'll need to create another webhook. So we'll come over here to make.com, and we'll do the same process again, where we create a custom webhook. We give it the name that we want to use. As you can see here, we have the restaurant check menu tool, and then in this we'll copy this address, bring it back over to Vappy and add it in here. Make sure to click save, and then we'll start building this tool over here in make.com. So in here in make.com, we have the tool come in. It will give us the query that we've just asked in the parameters over in Vappy. And then over here, we have a ChatGPT create a completion module. And in here, we are using ChatGPT-5 Nano. Now, this is the smallest version of ChatGPT. The reason we use the smallest one is because it's also the quickest and also the cheapest, but mainly because it's the quickest. And because we are going to be querying this real time in a call, we want the responses to be as quick as possible. And also, we're not giving it anything too complex, so we don't need a model like the GPT-5 mini or even just GPT-5, because nothing is going to be too complex or require that much thinking. So over here in this prompt, we essentially say to this prompt, this is a complete menu and tool system. And we say in here, you are the menu specialist AI for Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant. Your role is to provide accurate, helpful information about our menu items when the main voice agent queries you. You have complete knowledge of all menu items, ingredients, prices, availability, and dietary information. And then we give it some important facts. When responding to users, be concise but informative. Always include prices when discussing specific terms, mention key ingredients, cooking methods, etc. And then we give it a response format. Always only use plain text only. This is very important because as we go to the webhook response and we're sending it as JSON, if ChatGPT decides to output like asterisks or dashes, then it won't work well with the JSON and we will get an error. So that's an important thing to include in your prompt. Then we have here when you are returning an output formatted like this: item name, price, description, and then we give it all of the rest of the info. We give it some special notes, as you can see here. We give it an example response, so you can see here Kung Pao chicken, the price, and the description. Then down here we give it access to essentially the full menu. So you can see here Kung Pao, you can see here we have Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant, complete menu. We have all of the appetizers and the information and prices for these appetizers, and we essentially just give it the full information on this on the menu that we need to use. Now what we will need to do is we'll need to come down here and we'll need to add just one thing to this prompt, and this is going to be, this is the user's inquiry, and then we will add in here, as you can see, if we go over to where it says tool calls, we will come down here to function and we'll come over to arguments and we'll click query, like what we did previously in Vappy when we gave it the parameter and we've given it the query parameter. We're going to select it in here, so this prompt now knows what the voice agent is asking for. So we'll click save on this, and then over here again we're using the same JSON, we're giving it to tool call ID, and then the result is just the output from the OpenAI module. Now again, we'll click save, we'll come back over to Vappy, we'll go to our assistant over here, back over to the tools section, and then we'll give it access to the check menu tool. So now that's 2 tools out of 3 done. We just need to create one more tool, which is the create an order. So whenever the order is confirmed, we will add it to the database. So that's why we will have this tool over here called create new order. Now the description of this tool is going to be, this is a tool to use when a new order is confirmed with all the relevant details. And then in here you can see we have quite a few parameters. So we have the items to include, and in here the items, we have this as required. We call it the name items with the type as string, and we say this is the name of each item exactly as ordered, confirmed by the user, and must be separated by each item specifically. We'll click save on that. We also have in here that it must output the order type, and this order type is going to be string, and we're going to say, is this an order for pickup or delivery? Now it can only be one of the two, so we're going to come down here to where it says enum values, and we're going to give it 2 of the outputs. So what this enum values is we're basically telling the tool, don't output anything else other than one of these options here, and again this one is required. We'll click apply. Then over here we have the caller name, so whenever they confirm an order, we have just caller name string, and we say this is the name of the person ordering. Then we have the fourth parameter, which is the phone number. This is going to be string again, and we are going to say this is the phone number of the person ordering the food. And then lastly we have the caller address, and we call this one again just caller address. It's going to be type string, and we say this is the delivery address of the user if the order type is for delivery. Again, we'll click apply. Come down here, we have our third webhook, and we'll come over here to make.com, where we will have to create a new webhook. So over here in make.com, we'll create a new scenario. We'll come in here again, yours will be blank, but you'll have to create all of these. And in this webhook, or in this scenario, we are going to again use the first module as a webhook, and we're going to select custom webhook. When we select the custom webhook, we're going to give it a name, like I did here, called restaurant create new order. We're going to click save, and we're going to copy this address to clipboard. When we copy that, again, bring it over to Vappy, put it in here, click save, and now Vappy has access to this tool and can trigger this tool. Now Vappy is going to send over all of the pieces of information that we have in the parameters, like the caller address, phone number, name, order type, and items. So when we receive that over here, we have a prompt here called create order tool price calculation system prompt. So what we are doing with this Again, we are using GPT-5 mini this time. We're not going to use nano, we're going to use mini, because this one is going to require some accuracy, as this is how we create the final price. And we want to use a more accurate model, so we're going to use GPT-5 mini. We say here in the prompt, you are the order processing system for Golden Dragon Chinese restaurant. Your only job is to calculate the exact final price for customer orders. And in here we say complete the menu. Here is the complete menu prices, where we essentially give it the full access to all of the menu with all of the prices. And then down here we say, here is the items list of the order, and here is the order type. So in the final output price, we're going to have to combine the menu items, and we're going to have to add on an extra price if it is a delivery. So we can see here we have the order type. If it's delivery, add on an extra price. If it's just a collection, we don't need to add anything on. And now what we say to this prompt is, this is how we want it to be outputted. So we want it to be outputted as just simply a number or a price here. So we just wanted to output this specifically. And when it outputs that, then we'll come over here. Again, we have the same JSON, and then we return back to tool with the tool call ID. And what we actually send back to the voice agent is, here's the final price, and then the result from the ChatGPT module, which will just be the price. Now, this part after here is what we are going to do if we want to create a new profile. So as we mentioned before, in this first prompt, or in the first tool that we've used, is we are going to search for if there is an existing profile for the caller. Now in here is what we basically do in order to create them profiles. So up here you can see we have a Google Sheets, which is add a new row module, which you can do from just going down here, searching up Google Sheets and finding add a new row. And in this add a row module, we are essentially going to add in all of the order details. So we're going to find the same Google Sheet that we previously created, and we're going to this time choose the orders sheet, as this is where we're going to add the orders. So you can see we have the profile sheet, and down here we have the order sheet, and this is where we are going to add in all of the orders that have been created. Now in this order sheet, we're going to add in the details. So like we did previously over here in Vappy, we have items, order type, caller name, phone number, address, and that's what's going to be sent over to the webhook. And then here is where we are going to input all of them details. So we're going to input the items that was sent to the webhook, the price. We're going to input the one that ChatGPT outputted. For the order name, we're going to input what the webhook sent over again, and then for the profile number, the profile address. And then down here for the order type, again, we're just going to input what the webhook is sent. So whatever Vappy sends to the webhook, we are going to put into these sections here. Now over here we have a search rows module. Now not in the order sheet, but in the profile sheet, we are going to search for whenever the number in the sheet is equal to the number of the caller that we get sent from the webhook. Whenever they equal, then it's going to output something. Now if it outputs nothing, like as you can see over here, if the total number of bundles is equal to 0, we have this little filter in here. If the total number of bundles is equal to 0, then it's going to pass through. But if it's not equal to 0, then it's just going to stop here, and we're not going to create a new row. But whenever it equals to 0, we're going to come over here to this module and essentially create a new profile. So whenever this person calls again, we have all of their details stored on file. So you can see in here, whenever they have a 0 details on file already, we're going to come in here, we're going to choose the profile sheet this time, and we're going to add in the name, the number, and the address that we get from the call, and we're going to select the status as active. Again, this was just the complementary thing that we added into the sheet. As you can see over here, we're going to select the status as active, but again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And we're going to click save. Make sure we save it down here, and we turn this on to be immediately as data arrives. And now this Vappy voice assistant is going to be able to use all of these tools. We're going to again click save over here in the tool that we just created. We're going to make sure we come over here to the assistant, and we give it access to all of the tools that we've just created. And now for all of these, so we've put in the prompt and we've given it access to all of the tools. For the rest of these options, we're just going to keep them as default. So we're not going to change anything. We're going to keep it as default. Okay, so now that each of these tools are done, we can come over here and we can make sure that we click run on each of these tools, and then we can trigger a test call. And what it should do is initially trigger this to see if we have a profile. Then if we ask a question about something on the menu, it should trigger this one and return the output. And then if we create an order, it should trigger this, add the order to the Google Sheet. And if we don't have a profile, it will add us as a profile, but we do have a profile, so it should stop here just before the last module. So let's give this a call and see how it works.
Hello, thank you for calling Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant. My name is Lily. How can I help you today?
Hi Lily, I wanted to make an order for delivery today, please.
Perfect. I can do delivery. What name and delivery address should I use for this order? Also, may I have the best phone number to reach you?
Yeah, my number is 083 314 5786.
Great. I found a profile for that number. Would you like delivery to 123 Sesame Street under the name Folu?
Yep.
Perfect. Delivery to 123 Sesame Street under Folu. What would you like to order today?
Can you tell me what type of chicken dishes you have available?
Sure. Here are a few popular chicken options we have right now. General Tso's chicken, crispy battered chicken tossed in a sweet spicy garlic sauce, kung pao chicken,
Oh yeah,
stir-fried
actually, can
chicken
I
with
get the kung pao chicken and that's it? That's all I want to order.
great choice. One kung pao chicken coming right up. Just to confirm, delivery to 123 Sesame Street under the name Folu, phone Dio 8331455786, correct? It
Yep.
should arrive in about 40. All set. One kung pao chicken for delivery to 123 Sesame Street under Folu. It should arrive in about 40 minutes, and your total is $20.95. Thanks for ordering with Golden Dragon.
Thanks a million. Bye bye. End the call. And now you can see over here in the order sheet, you can see our order just came in. Kung Pao chicken, the price, the name, the number, and the address. And you can see over here it is for delivery. It can be for delivery or pickup. And then over here in the profile section, we have my name, which is Folu. We have the new number and 123 Sesame Street as the address for that person. And this person is now active. So now we've seen this voice agent that we've built on Vappy using ChatGPT-5, also using make.com to create the tools. We are able to create a voice assistant for restaurants all around the world. Now the good thing about this, like I mentioned at the start of this video, is once you build this once, you'll be able to replicate it in a matter of minutes for hundreds of different restaurants. Now building one of these systems is going to save restaurants thousands, because if you think about it, each restaurant has probably one or two staff members which spends the majority of their time on the phone answering these orders. Now each one of these staff members has to be paid a wage, and if you can save that wage, or if you can save that restaurant partially a little bit on that wage, maybe charging 50%, which could be a few thousand dollars each month, and then you've won because you're able to charge them for this system. They've also won because they've saved maybe 50% on the wages that they were currently spending. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to download this full system without having to build one thing, then come over to my second link in the description, which is my community, where we have loads of different templates that you can use and download directly to start selling immediately.